is the CADD Solis pump, and this is the newer version of the two CADD pumps. The batteries for this one are changed by twisting this little gray top here, and there's AA batteries in there. We tell the patient, typically there's a battery indicator on this pump, but we tell the patient to change the batteries every probably 36 to 48 hours, and to always check it before they go to sleep at night and make sure it has enough battery power. We send them a ton of batteries. There's probably enough for them to actually change the batteries every day if they wanted to, but that's not really necessary. How you turn this pump on is there's a little button on the side. You just push in and the pump will start to power up. You want to hear a consecutive set of 6 beeps when you turn it on. That means it's fully powered up, which you'll hear in a second. Okay, so that's the 6 beeps. Up in this upper left-hand corner, it shows the milliliters that are left to be infused. And then right now in the middle it says stopped with this turned to red, and the screen's also red, and then your battery indicator is over here. If you wanted to check the settings of this pump, before the patient goes home, I look at the bag that is sent out by pharmacy, either the bag or cassette, and double check that the settings match what the pump says. So this screen also goes blank to power save. If you want to get it to come back up, you can just press select and it will come back up. One of the biggest things to remember is the pump has to be fully powered on before you put on the new cassette. Currently, this is what the cassette looks like that we're sending out to the patients. It has an extension that's already attached to it, and the entire extension set and tubing is already primed. So when the pump asks you if you want to prime the tubing, you can hit no for the Milrinone. It has a built-in air filter here, and then you want to check and make sure that both clamps, there's a clamp right here, and this is just the type you pull back and it opens, and then there is also a slide clamp here that just slides back and forth to open and close. Typically pharmacy sends these out with the clamps closed, so you want to make sure that you double check those and open them before you hit start on the pump. How this connects is there's a little silver lever right here, and you just pull it down first, and then you will see that there's 2 little, we call these the little feet on the cassette. Can you see it?
Yep.
Okay. So we say put the feet in first, so there's 2 little grooves here. It can pretty much only go in one way. So you put those underneath and you push the cassette on, and then you close the lever. There it's going to ask you if you want to prime the tubing, and you can hit no, and then it's going to ask you if you're ready to start the pump. If for some reason it does not ask you to reset the reservoir volume, you need to call into the pharmacy when you're at the patient's house changing the cassette. That is based on what lock level pharmacy has put it in. So occasionally it's accidentally put in lock level 2, where it will not prompt the patient to reset, or the nurse to reset the reservoir volume, and it just has to be changed to lock level 1, which pharmacy can walk you through.
Okay.
So when you hit yes to start the pump, everything on the screen is going to turn green. So it tells you that the cassette will be empty in 199 hours and 57 minutes. This, the middle part that was red and said stop, turns to green and is running. And then the big thing that you always want to see before you leave the patient's house is that the green light over here is blinking. And what I tell the patient is this pump is pumping super slow. This bag is much more concentrated than what they were on in the hospital. And so, whereas in the hospital they might have been getting 8 to 10 milliliters an hour, here they're probably only getting between 1 and 2 milliliters an hour. So a lot of patients think that when the screen goes blank, that for some reason the pump has shut off. But the biggest thing is just to look for the green light and make sure that it's still blinking. And again, remind them to check the battery indicator light before they go to bed each night. There's also an amber light right here that is that can blink, and it will blink if the pump is stopped, if the battery is low, or if it's alarming for some reason. The biggest alarm that we see that happens is that it will say downstream occlusion, in which case one of the clamps has not been opened. So just double check that. The biggest thing to know is that when you change the cassette on this one, a lot of nurses, when you just pull down this lever like this, it won't come off. So you have to push it down just a little more to actually get it to come off. And of course it says cassette. Yes, we know. So again, always make sure the pump is powered on before you change the cassette when you're at the patient's house. And the patient is also told that they can disconnect from this for up to 30 minutes to take a shower. And when they do that, they would just need to hit this stop button here. The start stop button is the same button, and it will say, do you want to stop the pump? And they can say yes and disconnect. And then when they get back out of the shower, just clean the IV end cap for 15 seconds with alcohol and reconnect it and hit start. So that is the CADD Solis. Now we're going to talk about the CADD Prism.
Quick question.
Oh wait,
on the Solis.
wait, what I forgot to show on this was, if you want to review the settings, if you hit task, you can scroll down to view delivery settings. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay. Hit select, and it will show you all the settings. So the main things we're double checking are the continuous rate matches what's on the cassette or the bag, the 0.8 milliliters an hour, and the reservoir volume matches what the bag volume is. And then just to get back to the main screen, hit this back button twice and you'll be back to the main screen. Okay.
If at some point in time, I'm sure we'll have bags that come back in.
Yes.
And you'll convert back to those.
Yes.
I've not seen how that hooks up yet, but is there?
So, what did I do?